For more, here with us on this story is trial attorney and legal analyst Misty Marris. Misty, this is a situation we have talked about in the newsroom over and over again. One, how does this happen that people are leaving ammunition in their luggage, which actually does happen to some people? And why are the laws so aggressive? How much does what happened in the sentencing of Hagerich affect what will happen in other cases?
I can imagine that he is breathing a sigh of relief and his family is so happy that he's home. So the Turks and Caicos law is very, very severe. It's a 12-year mandatory sentence for having ammunition or a firearm in the luggage. And what I find interesting is that the ammunition that was actually found in the luggage of these Americans wasn't detected on the American side at the airports that they were leaving from to go to Turks and Caicos. So that law is very, very serious. Look, Turks and Caicos, they have a legislature. They pass laws that they believe to be in furtherance of the greater good of Turks and Caicos. But the issue is that many Americans travel there. So if there is a mistake made, as in this case, that mandatory sentence is a very, very severe punishment. Now, in this particular case, it's signaling a movement towards giving the judges what's called judicial discretion, meaning instead of just imposing this mandatory 12-year sentence without looking into the facts, the judges are able to look at the issues. Is this person a gun runner? Is this person had the intent to actually bring this ammunition into the country? Or was it a simple mistake? And that's what happened in this case.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're talking about those exceptional circumstances. Now, 3 of the 5 Americans charged, Hagerich and 2 others, have pleaded guilty while awaiting pleas from the remaining 2. Do you expect them to also plead guilty?
I would imagine under these circumstances, now that we see that the judges are actually taking the facts and circumstances into account, it's likely that the others will plead guilty as well, because here you have the best possible result, a suspended sentence, which is similar to probation. It means that no time will be served if all conditions are met. And in this particular case, the conditions are a fine. And so it would behoove the other individuals who are faced with this criminal charge to plead guilty and then go to the judge and present these exceptional circumstances, as we just spoke about, which includes no intent to actually bring this ammunition into the country.
And more importantly, get to go home, Misty, because I have to believe more than anything else, they want to be back home with their family. Now, a delegation of U.S. lawmakers traveled to Turks and Caicos last week asking for the release of the Americans. Was that effective at all? Do you believe that that is playing into a shift there?
It seems that it did. And John Fetterman said so much that the meeting was actually very, very productive. Although the law itself did not change, there was this exception carved out that gave judges the ability to reduce these sentences to something different than that mandatory 12 years. And look, Turks and Caicos, its economy is tourism, and primarily tourism from the United States. And that's what this delegate actually presented to Turks and Caicos, that you're going to deter Americans from coming to Turks and Caicos, from even wanting to go there for vacation, if you're imposing this very, very severe sentence for something where there's no intent and it's simply a mistake.
And spend those tourism dollars elsewhere. Misty, I have less than a minute, but I have a couple of questions for you. 3 additional Americans are still in Turks and Caicos awaiting sentencing. What's happening for them right now? And another American was allowed to return to the U.S. because of terminal health issues. What happens next for him?
So for all of these individuals, it's going to be up to the judge to make a determination about whether or not the mandatory 12-year sentence is imposed or they fit into this category of exceptional circumstances. Now, all of the cases have minor differences, but they're all very, very similar. And I think that what we just saw happen, the judge taking into account all of the facts surrounding this issue, looking at intent, looking at that issue of whether or not this was just a simple mistake, is going to be something that we're going to see as a pattern with these individuals. So I would expect the sentences to be similar, although I give this with the caveat. It is up to the judge in Turks and Caicos. So there is that level of discretion for that judge to make a determination on all of these cases.
Misty Marris, thank you so much, and thank you for joining me on this Memorial Day weekend.
Absolutely happy to be here.